Preparing my mind for birth was my biggest focus during the last trimester of my pregnancy. So during the end of my 6th pregnancy, I trained myself to think of birth in 2 radically different ways than I had ever thought about it before. And this change of perspective is a major part of what altered my experience of giving birth. So the first change in my thought process is what I discussed in Module 2 about pain. It was my understanding of pain as a messenger. And so I also viewed even physical discomfort as a messenger and responded to it like it was a warning bell that pain's on the way if I don't start making adjustments. The second radical mindset change I made was to think of birth as something that my baby was doing, not something that I was doing. So I started thinking about birth as there's this baby in my womb who's fully mature and it's ready to birth, even though, the baby doesn't consciously understand what's happening. The mom is in this with the baby and helps the baby by how she cooperates with her body. The baby would just be maybe sensing that something's changing. And any movement they make towards exiting the womb would be instinctual. And science shows babies naturally experience the mother's emotions. So during labor and delivery, the baby is experiencing every emotion the mom experiences. So as this child experiences the first major change of its entire existence, it's also experiencing the emotions it's going to then on naturally associate with any change going forward. So if, like with most of my births, the mom is feeling fear or anxiety or stress throughout contractions, the baby's natural association of change is going to be fear and anxiety. If, like with some of my births, the mom is rejecting the messages of her body to, dissociate from the pain and the process so that she can stay calm and get through the birth, the baby's learning by this lack of connection that change is something the baby's going to have to do alone. If the mom is engaging with her body and her child during the whole process, and she's listening to the messages of her body and she's remaining peaceful while she trusts her God-given instincts at each moment, the baby's learning they're not alone, they're loved. Change is a good thing. This is way more peaceful for the baby. So thinking of birth as something that my baby was doing with my help and my wise guidance was a tectonic shift for me. I used 3 additional mental strategies during pregnancy to prepare my mind to give birth without pain. The first was watching, listening, and reading as many positive, pain-free birth stories as possible. Lots of nights I'd get in bed and I'd do like a search engine, something like painless birth stories. So other times I listen to birth story interviews on painfreebirth.com/birth stories. Or I'd read the birth stories that Pain Free Birth posted on Instagram. It's just at Pain Free Birth. So painfreebirth.com has a course actually that she sells teaching you how to give birth painlessly, but I didn't buy it, so I can't review it here or anything, but it is there if you want to look at it. Another website I'd used to read birth stories was unassistedchildbirth.com/birth stories. Okay, so the second thing I did was every day I took a couple minutes to mentally prepare myself to relax my body at the contractions rather than tense up. I just spend a few minutes imagining I was starting to have contractions and picture myself accepting them. Not accepting pain, just the actual contractions. And then the last thing I did to mentally prepare myself was write a super simple birth affirmation statement that I could repeat during labor. Honestly, I don't even remember what it was. I think it was something like, my baby's coming, I'm happy, or something like that. It was 1 sentence long, something really simple. There's a bunch of examples online. Some of the ones that I looked up were, I will meet my baby soon. I feel safe. Jesus, I trust in you. My baby is coming. My body knows what to do. Whatever resonates with you. In labor, all the mental preparation I'd done paid off. I was mostly focused on remaining present to what I needed to do physically during the birth, so I didn't have a lot of energy left over to wrangle my thoughts or my feelings. So the thoughts that I practiced during pregnancy, like pain is a messenger. I can follow the instincts of my body. I don't need to be in control. I can let the contractions move baby into place and out of my body. I'm accompanying my baby through the birth. All those things that I've talked about, they just came naturally, which really eliminated a lot of the potential of pain from my muscles tensing up through stress or anxiety. And also, really importantly, the first time I felt any negative feelings at all, which was doubt, I immediately recognized that I was in transition. So that's the process of changing from contractions and labor to pushing. And so the fact that I was able to identify a negative emotion as a natural part of transition, which it is a part of transition, let me stay calm. And I was able to keep going without pain. Like literally my brain thought, oh, I'm experiencing a negative emotion of doubt. That means my baby's almost here. So to recap, I prepared mentally for labor by 1, seeing pain as a messenger, 2, seeing birth as something my baby was doing with my help, 3, watching, reading, and listening to positive, painless birth stories, 4, writing a 1-sentence birth affirmation, and 5, preparing mentally to accept and allow contractions to naturally come, not pain, just contractions.